Big Kel
Big Kel
and Kahuna
and Kahuna
podcast.
podcast. Mwah. For sure.
Hey, welcome to episode 18 of Big Kel
and Kahuna.
I'm Kelly,
And I'm Alec.
and today's Saturday, April 19th. I don't think we have too much to recap from last time.
Episode 18.
Yeah. I know, episode 17 was last time, but I know we have to do something. There was an update I was supposed to give on something. I missed the actual name, but I forgot what it
You're
was.
supposed to get a chalkboard
for
all the bitches.
because Tim Walz has been retired. He can't be the bitch of the week anymore. He's been there 3 times, so he's the first one to be retired. Newsom's got 2, so he's not too far behind him. But we'll go from there. Okay, so we just watched F1 qualifying for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
Couple good
In Jeddah,
times
right?
at the end. I think it's Jeddah, yeah. So George threw the fastest time, but then he got beat by Piastri, and who then got beat by Verstappen by 1/10 of a second.
100th.
100th of a second, that's correct. And then Piastri beat Russell by 11th of a second. So,
Or 10.
and then Norris hit the wall.
Yes, he did.
And then Antonelli came in 5. So what did they put Leclerc for? I think Leclerc for. All right, who do you think is going to win the race?
Who do I think is going to win the race? Lance Stroll.
No, you
He's
don't.
the best racer in Formula One.
Dude, it's going to be a long hour. We got to start with that shit. He's terrible.
You were saying before qualifying that Verstappen won't be a Red Bull at the end of the year.
Well, that's what the rumors are. They even had a story this week that now that George signed his deal, that it could be Verstappen and George at Mercedes. That'd be great.
Yeah. I don't think that
Provided they
Cadillac,
got a good car.
I don't think that Antonelli or that Cadillac team picked their 2 drivers yet for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I would think if Verstappen went somewhere, it's not going to be Red Bull. It won't be Ferrari. So it's either Mercedes, won't be McLaren. So it's Mercedes, or he's got to go somewhere that could get a shitload of cash. Now, supposedly one of the Saudi Arabian families is looking to buy one of the teams. So if that happens, they'll have all the cash
They
they
have
want.
infinite money.
Yeah, I mean, they
Saudi
bought Newcastle
Arabians.
United 2-3 years ago, and they're a top 5 team already.
Next year will be interesting because there'll be 11 teams, and it's a complete redesign of the car. Not even just the exterior, but the internal parts too.
Really?
Yep.
What are they trying to get? More speed?
Yeah, and better
Handling, maybe?
ability to hang with other drivers because right now Dirty Air screws up how precise they're tuned.
So they must put some kind of something that makes everybody relatively equal in that. Okay, well, that'd be interesting to see. So the race goes off 1 tomorrow. We should have a good look. I think Verstappen's going to take it myself.
I would like to see him take it.
And I actually think George and Piastri, as long as there's not more than one safety car, I think that's your podium finish.
How many people will finish, you think?
I think 3 people are going to hit the walls and be taken out.
Okay. 3 safety cars?
Yeah.
Or a 2-car crash and then one guy loses it.
You know what? I think there'll be 3 guys that don't make it, whether somebody taps the wall and they got to come out or whether they tap and hit somebody. But I think 3 cars don't finish. How
All
about
right.
you?
17 left. I'll say 2.
2?
Don't. So 17 or 18.
We'll see. It all depends, man.
Because it's cold. It's night. It's relatively cold.
Well, it's 84 degrees today.
Yeah.
But
it's at night and there's not going to be any rain. So
Yeah, so it'll be good racing conditions. We'll see what happens.
that entire track has no bailout area.
Yeah, but they also said it has limited passing, which is in a DRS just about
Yeah.
exclusively.
There's that one, and then there's Azerbaijan.
I like that.
Azerbaijan does
That's
have
tight.
some run-off areas.
It does, but I think it's the best city course in that you could actually pass and you can get around. You can't get around fucking anybody in Monaco.
Yeah.
Unless it's a safety car or a crash. And
I like that.
Singapore is really hard to get around too.
I like that one turn in Azerbaijan that Leclerc fucked up. You know,
Yeah.
That uphill turn between those two old Gothic buildings.
Yeah, he hit one, didn't he?
Yeah, going into it. I am stupid.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of watching the race. All right, so when we're moving at a quick pace here, anything crazy with Trump derangement syndrome aside from the Maryland ban, the El
Anything
Salvadorian
crazy from Trump?
gang leader?
Well, there is one thing. His physical said that he was 6'3", 224 pounds.
Yeah.
You believe he's 224 pounds?
I actually do. You know why?
Why is that?
Because I don't think he has legs like guys like us. Your weight's distorted because we're thick-legged. He might be one of them skinny-legged dudes, and if that's the case, he could be probably like 250 on the top, but about 200 down below, and it averages to 224. I've seen that.
Yeah.
That would be my only guess. But listen, dude, for 78, that dude's in pretty good shape. And I've been around
How
some
old's
78-year-olds.
RFK Jr.? He's like late 60s.
Yeah, mid-60s, late 60s. Those two guys, they're quick. They could talk, they could speak, and that's the thing that impresses me the most about President Trump is that his command of the subject matter, he's pretty good. Now, his delivery, that guy knows what he's doing. People think he might be a goofball sometimes on how blunt he is. He knows what he's doing. I've seen him be quite eloquent many a times. And then I see him just pick at people.
But Shane Gillis does have a good impression of him.
He does.
Like, wow, it's great. I walked in the room and said, wow, it's so great.
Yeah, I saw that I was watching that Netflix Kill Tony special.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's terrible.
I didn't like it.
It's terrible. And I say this only because if this gets out, there's stuff I see on their podcast and the clips. They're funny as hell. I love it. But that show was...
They
had some
Rogan,
bad guests.
They're putting Rogan in a precarious situation with how much they made fun of Elon Musk.
Yeah, that too.
Because Elon probably
I don't know who that character was.
Elon probably won't like that all of Joe Rogan's comedy buddies are making fun of him.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy was that played him, but he didn't do a good job. Was that blonde guy that always plays people?
I don't know.
He played Bill Maher. Oh, and then I'm sorry to say this. I saw your buddy Tim Dillon's Netflix special.
It wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good.
It was better than Shane Gillis Live, in my opinion.
Well, that might be true, but I'm telling your mom, because remember we went up to the outskirts of Baltimore to that shit little strip mall,
Joke House.
and we saw him.
Magooby's Joke House.
He was good there.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately good. He had me going for like the whole hour, and I didn't even know who this guy was.
Yeah, I was shocked that he's been doing this for that long, and he still can't even get an hour-long special on Netflix.
Yeah.
He could only muster like 41 minutes.
Yeah, but I watched it, and I'm like, this not good material for him. He's funny as hell. I watched him on the Gutfeld show the other day, and he was doing some highbrow, goofy shit.
He's great on podcasts.
Oh, he was good, yeah. Well, I love watching him and Rogan because he hits a home run every time he's on.
With his rants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it when he was making fun of Snow White. That was good. And that proved to be true when we talked about it, too.
Yeah, I don't like Rachel Zegler or whatever way you pronounce it.
Look, man. This all started when she was 20. She's 22 now. I say this as nicely as I can.
She ruined her career at 22 years old.
You, your sister, I knew your mom at 20. I knew me at 20. We're all a bunch of dumb shits at 20.
I was a super genius
and
at
the
20.
fact that Disney let her be the spokesman for that movie, that just tells you how they're ignorant or they're just undisciplined.
They didn't let her. She just didn't shut her fucking mouth.
Well, they should have checked her ass, withheld her pay. But when you got a 20-year-old mouthy person who's uneducated just running their mouth, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Would you not agree?
She lost them hundreds of millions of dollars.
More than that. Plus, I still don't understand why they had to remake Snow White.
They're remaking everything. They made Ariel Black Mermaid.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't work just because the melatonin and stuff. It doesn't work.
The melatonin. Yeah. You mean melanin?
Melanin, but
melatonin,
yeah, melanin
is a sleep aid.
Yeah, melanin. You got to be. So if you're in the dark, the less light, the whiter you are. I mean, come on.
Those Hollywood woke movie producers and producing companies are usually 2 years behind on the cultural and societal zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Because it takes, 18 months to make a movie?
Yeah, I would think so. But, even your mom likes Law and Order.
So that woke garbage will still be around for
for a
another
while,
year and a half.
yeah.
Oh, Law and Order is not going anywhere. That's like chick kryptonite.
No,
is
no, no.
Law and Order.
But I'm saying is it's not a bad series. I don't mind watching it. But you could tell
dun.
when the country's political beliefs were shifting, like when they became woke or they want to say something about Trump, they always threw one-liners in there at different times. And I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's...
So I know these guys are all in a concerted campaign.
And you know what's sad? You and I pick up on that and go, oh, come on, man, what is this bullshit? A good cohort of people don't pick up on it and are subconsciously influenced by it.
Yeah, it's you can tell when comments are made. Or
Yeah, but
and,
a
and
lot
you
of low
can't-
IQ people cannot.
Yeah, and even funny stuff like you can't have a white couple or a black couple or an Asian couple or Hispanic couple. Everybody's biracial now.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I got no problem with that. But
Black Mirror did
but that's
that
not
too.
the norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So throw a couple, homogeneous couples in there together.
Well, Black Mirror did it, but their producer, or
Who?
most of them, you don't know the Netflix show Black Mirror?
No.
I'll talk about it later. But their producer, whoever creator, is British. There's a lot of interracial couples in the UK, at least a higher percentage than in the US.
No, but when they do stuff like you like that, was it Valhalla, the one with Leif Erikson?
I never watched that, the Vikings show.
It was a spinoff of the Vikings. No, you did. You're the one who told me to watch it.
Oh.
Because you had watched the series. But in there, one of the famous Nordic kings, not Canute, because he was down in England, but the one that stayed behind who ran the country, in the series they made it like a black female in her 45s. And I'm like, that's not even the right age, let alone the right sex. Or the right ethnicity. And I'm like, come on, that doesn't make any sense anymore.
Well, the Lioness was such a success. You remember that a couple years ago?
The one with Taylor Sheridan?
The black woman who was like the tribe leader?
I wanted to see that. She was she had a good TV show. I forgot her name. She's a fantastic actress.
Wasn't she in Suicide Squad?
Yeah. But she had a TV show where I think they really solidified her chops. It was the one where she was a lawyer, How to Get Away with Murder or something. She was really sharp there. No, she's a top shelf actress. She's been in a couple other ones that's really good. I forgot her name, but she's brilliant.
Yeah, that Peacemaker TV show.
Well,
It's probably
there's a
the
new one
only
coming.
good thing that came out of Suicide Squad.
But there's a new season coming out.
Oh, good. And that's made by James Gunn.
Yeah.
I remember Marvel tried to distance himself from him because he was like a Republican 4 years ago. Same shit that Hollywood tried to do to Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
But they started filming season 2 of The Terminal List.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I thought he was dying of brain cancer.
Yeah, but there's still going to be a second season.
Okay.
And Chris Pratt said it's
Yeah,
going to be better. I like Chris Pratt.
So that's the one thing I want to bring up. This is how woke this country became. Chris Pratt got more
You
shit
can get blacklisted.
for being a Christian than Tom Cruise was catching for being a Scientologist.
He doesn't get dick for... Travolta
How-
doesn't get anything.
I know that, but how screwed up is this country that the Scientologists catch the break over the Christian?
There's this one male actor. He's kind of
I don't get
old,
it.
but he got blacklisted because he said, I'm a Christian, so I'm not going to kiss any female actresses because I love my wife, and that would violate my marriage.
I thought it was the blonde guy on.
No, he was some old gray-haired dude, but they blacklisted him.
Yeah. Well, no, he's gray blonde. He was one of the villains in Yellowstone.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he always plays the bad guy. But no, you're right. He got hit for that. And if you listen to Mike Epps said he got hit because he refused to put a dress on. Because there's some kind of thing about black actors having to dress up in a dress.
They did Kevin Hart dirty with that one. But it's just gay hazing. It's really all it is.
I don't know what it is.
You think fraternal hazing
But
is
Mike
gay.
Mike Epps that shit ain't happening. So you got to catch that on YouTube. All right. Well, aside
You
from
wanted to talk
Senator-
about Conor McGregor?
Oh, yeah. So I had the opportunity when I went for my walk this morning to listen to the Tucker Carlson, Conor McGregor. I guess it was like a half hour, 45-minute
It was
interview.
about like 55 minutes.
You know, I thought he was, as a fighter, I thought he was great. But I thought he was a little bit of a goon in some of his commentary, just the way he's,
Well, he
he's very
stuttered and stammered
well,
a lot.
no, it's because he's very gregarious and stuff he wants to say. But I listened to how he articulated the challenges in Ireland for native Irish, and how huge mass immigration has changed stuff, and how the government's paying for everything for those folks, but not for the native, and how eloquent he was on the subject matter. I'll have to give it to him.
Well, the
Conor
Irish,
McGregor, he knows what he's doing.
yeah, I mean, well, the Irish have been screwed over as a people for the past couple hundred years.
Centuries. British have been jamming them for hundreds and hundreds or 1,000 years.
Yeah.
But now their own
How is it that they can't even
people
control
are doing it to them
how can they not even control part of their own country? Northern Ireland?
because England kept it from them.
Still to this day.
Yeah, that's part of the UK.
With the IRA.
Yeah, you got to do some research and watch some stuff on that.
I support
But
the
it's the
IRA a
Protestant-
little bit, but I don't like their car bombing.
Well, the Protestants were the UK, and then the Roman Catholics were Ireland, and shit, they had been under UK thumb for a long time. You got to do your research and history on that one. Very complicated. All right, I haven't seen too many. What's that?
I did see a movie yesterday called 6 Days. It was in 1980 or 1984 when those Iranians took over the Iranian embassy in London.
Yeah,
And then Margaret Thatcher sent the SAS in after 6 days.
and put them down.
Yeah. And no hostages were shot.
Harmed.
Yeah.
Listen, if you want to ever get caught up on history, there's 3 female world leaders that I think in kind of modern times that you need to do research on. One is Golda Meir in Israel in the late 60s. When they had the 7-Day War and all that other stuff,
I know about the 7-Day War.
you need to watch a documentary on her. There's actually a good movie that came out recently. And then Indira Gandhi in India, because she came after her pops and what she did to stabilize stuff, and then how she was killed, murdered. And then Margaret Thatcher, the great dame or great dame or whatever. She was the female equivalent of Ronald Reagan, but I think she had a little bit more spunk.
I prefer Princess Diana.
Oh, no, she wasn't a politician.
Yeah.
Well, Margaret Thatcher was the beast. If all you fellas out there, do some research on those 3 ladies. You'll be impressed beyond all doubt. And they all got their chops in serious wartime stuff. Remember, Margaret Thatcher's the one who sent the military down there to take care of the Argentinians when they took the Falkland Islands.
Oh.
And everybody was against her doing that, and she fucking did it anyway. She goes, it's a matter of sovereignty.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other cool history stuff we came across this week, or cool pieces of information?
I looked into the Lost Boys of South Sudan for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fascinating one.
Yeah. What about them?
Well, they came over to America, and
They were mainly Dinka, right?
yeah, and they were just shocked by all the technology. They were freaking out over like a vacuum cleaner, and then there was a documentary apparently about this. After a couple weeks, they were trying to teach them how to drive, and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. So
they were all
they
orphans,
didn't
right?
stay on the road or anything. Yeah.
There was a large number.
Big
There was a
genocide
couple
that
hundred of
happened
them,
in
right?
Sudan,
Oh,
yeah.
no, there was. The Arab North was killing the African Christian South.
Yep.
And that's why there's South Sudan now.
Mm-hmm.
We lived there when I was
That's
a
the
kid.
youngest country, right? South Sudan.
I think it is right now, yeah. We lived there when I was kids, and you could tell that. The British put that country together. We knew it then when we lived there, and this was back in the late 70s, early 80s, that there was your Arab North and your African South, or your Muslim North and your Christian South, and it was cut like right through the middle, and you're like, this just going to pop one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it was obvious.
It was inevitable.
And that's where I saw one of the weirdest things I ever saw in my life. 4 dogs in the country zoo in the capital.
What kind of dogs?
One of them was a husky, a white husky.
I mean, you don't see that many huskies in Africa.
No, but they had the dogs in it. And I keep in mind
that poor husky.
There was where we lived, there were gangs of dogs. You had the dominant male.
Yeah.
You had a couple of enforcer males, and then you had the breeding women, the breeding bitches. There were like 4 to 5 of them,
Milano
and then all the kids. But they ran in like a pack, just like hyenas and wolves and
roaming
lions.
Packs of wild dogs.
Yeah, they each owned a certain section. I always used to feed them Gainsburgers and stuff. They're my buddies. No, that was.
What were the other
interesting
dogs
shit.
in the zoo?
I think there was a mutt and something like a Saint Bernard, not as hairy. So I don't know how the fuck they got down there, but fucked up.
That could be something in the future. We talk about really rare exotic pets.
Yeah, we could do that. I remember we saw. So I had to be in the late 70s, because in one of the national movie theaters in the city, my dad took us there. I can't believe he took us there. There had to be a couple thousand people in there, and we went to see Saturday Night Fever in the movie theater.
How was that?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I wish I could dance like that fucker. It was in another movie with Sylvester Stallone after that. It was Staying Alive, I think, where he played a Broadway dancer. And Sylvester Stallone was the director. And Frank Stallone did some singing. So.
Sylvester Stallone. Have you been keeping up with the Righteous Gemstones?
No, I don't watch that. I still got to finish the 2nd season of Vice Principals.
No.
I might do a 2nd round on Eastbound and Down.
Man, I've seen that show through at least 5 times.
Why is Kenny so loyal to him?
Kenny loyal to who?
Oh no, not Kenny's sidekick.
Fuck, what was his name? Steven? No.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's kind of slow.
Yeah. Stevie.
Why is he so loyal to Kenny Powers?
Because Kenny Powers manipulates him.
Oh, okay. I like that one with Will Ferrell. He's talking about my big plums.
Yeah. I can feel it.
I feel it.
Deep in my plums.
Deep in my plums.
Do you ever see the bloopers of that? Craig Robinson couldn't keep it together.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that the other day. That's why I brought it up.
My plums. Ooh.
Yeah, that's good. I had dressed up like him one time. What's his name? Ashley something wrong?
Ashley Schaefer. BMW.
Schaefer.
The Kia is a superior automobile. How did I mess that one up?
Ashley Schaefer.
But when he has all the Asian executives over from Kia,
yeah,
and he puts Stevie in like a kimono, and he dresses him up like a traditional Japanese woman from feudal Japan.
Korea.
Yeah. So he's got all these Korean guys, and he has Stevie dress up like a little Japanese woman.
Girl?
A geisha. Yeah. This is my geisha. I present to you my geisha. Sit down. And then his housemaid, Mammy, makes her talk like a southern. You remember the campaign, right?
Yeah.
You know how their dad made that frail Asian housemaid talk like, "Oh, you go come here for some of Mammy's cooking."
Yeah.
Did the same shit in that show too.
All right. What else?
That has to be the best comedy show, Eastbound and Down.
It's one of them. You got to like that humor, otherwise you'll be lost on you. Was there any history shit I saw this week?
Any history shit?
Nah, nothing new. No, I can't think of anything. We were supposed to do a new segment here and put something in there. You were going to pick this. You said you wanted to talk about some odd historical fact or something.
Or we can just talk about topics a lot of people proclaim to know about, but in actuality don't know anything about.
Like what? Pick one. We need a
taxes,
couple minutes.
foreign markets, self-sufficient economies.
I'm not talking about that. I don't think our audience needs to know that. Tariff shit's going to take care of itself, though.
Well, why don't you talk about the tariffs?
No, I'm done. That's all I need to say. It's going to take care of itself. It's not that big a deal. We talked about it the other day. Wait till the deals start coming through and everything starts balancing.
A lot of people
They'll end
want to
up
make
driving.
deals.
He'll end up driving a middle-class market in the U.S. that doesn't exist today. It's going to take a good 12 to 24 months to start popping up, but when it does, it'll be easily seen.
Yeah.
The cost of the government's going to go down. Tax rates are going to get reduced. Corporate tax rate, I hope they're talking about down to 21 and then down to 15. I hope they do 15.
When's he giving us our $8,000? He was supposed to be giving us some money.
Yeah, I never heard him say that.
No, I wanted free money.
Don't we all? Don't we all? All right, we'll go to the book chapters real quick. So chapter 1, we never talked about it. It's, why we wrote the book. And it's to, I don't want to say leave a legacy, but it's to leave some information behind, right? At least leave a game plan for my son and my daughter, and I think others will find utility in it. There's really not too much we don't cover. There's a couple other things we could, but it'd be more fringe, so we'll leave it alone for now. And then the other one is chapter 51, which we always do at the end of the week, is, bitch of the week, but don't be a bitch. I was thinking about it the other day, how I would say it in a G version, and it'd kind of be like, those Snicker commercials? Whenever
You're not you when you're hungry?
Yeah, and you're not you when you're hungry. It's the same thing. Don't be a bitch. But the problem is, I'm sorry to say this, there's a large portion of the American male population that lives in don't be a bitch world. The super left weirdos, I saw them on the news the last couple weeks.
They would live in bitch world, not don't be a bitch world.
No, but they live in the bitch world. That's why I say don't be a bitch, but they live in the bitch world. Yeah, some goofy people. So that's it. You read the chapter, you listen to what we're saying, you get the stuff at the end, and you're tracking with us. If
when
you're
was
not,
the last
you're not.
time you checked the book sales?
A week or so ago. Made $27.63.
Ho, hell yeah, brother.
I think we got a couple based on some of the posts comments I was reading that I put on LinkedIn. Some people said some really nice stuff.
Oh.
One of the fellas today put something in there. I used to work with
what,
him.
LinkedIn or Amazon?
On LinkedIn, yeah. This guy I used to work with named Mike Irwin. I thought the guy was brilliant. Some people didn't necessarily care for his style, but I thought the guy was brilliant. Always have, always did, and he's top shelf. And he said a nice thing, so
that's good.
It's good. Feels good about it. All right, so we're going to throw in one extra section. I told you to read a chapter about those 10 things in there, and don't take mine.
What 10 things?
Well, the different health hacks that you could do, whether it's a grounding mat, whether it's cold plunge or cold shower, because you got to get your cold shock protein. Whether it's a sauna.
I got some. Blue light glasses are good if you work around computers a lot.
Oh, yeah, you got to show me how to red light or black light my phone at nighttime, because it's just too much light that comes out. There's a button you put for the contrast.
Do you have a screen protector on it?
Yeah.
What kind?
I don't know, but there's a way you can toggle it. If you don't know how to do it, I'll research it myself. But you're right about that. Blue light blocking glasses you need to do, especially in the evening.
Just
I got
fasting for 18 hours a day is good.
Yeah.
Only eating in a 6-hour window.
Mm-hmm.
Drink as much water as possible. Well, not to a detriment, of course.
You
but a
stuff.
gallon and a half of water a day.
Yeah, but get some of the element or some of the other stuff, like that Dr. Bird's
can magnify
electrolyte powder.
its
I do.
With
you need to do that.
Sure, vitamin C is good if you have a cold.
Well, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about vitamin C being one of the key longevity things that's misunderstood. That you got to take certain amount of units, and if you got that balanced right, the autophagy goes up, your muscle strength goes up.
Yeah.
But you got to be in this range, and shit, I learn something every day. I was listening to this guy. What the hell's his name? But he's the king of glutes.
Vitamin C.
So he's the guy who invented the hip thrust and all that.
I've been seeing these things on Instagram. I don't know if it's a joke or serious, but consuming methylene blue.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
What does it do?
What do you think those tropes I give you are? The little ones that turn your mouth blue.
That's methylene blue?
That's got methylene blue in it.
Oh.
It gives you cognitive stuff. It's perfect if you take that a half an hour before you go in the sauna, the effects of the sauna will be multiplied 4 or 5 times. You should take that before you lift because it gets extra oxygen in your muscles. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why I gave you that stuff.
Huh.
There you go. Now mine is cold shock benefit. So if you want to do a cold plunge, they say don't do it more than 15 minutes a week, but you can also get the same thing from a shower. You want to activate your brown fat. Most of it lies in between your shoulder blades. But it also is a vasoconstrictor, so it brings all your blood in from your extremities to your core. And then if you could follow that with a sauna or something. They say also that if you cold plunge before you go lift, you'll get a natural bump in testosterone by doing that.
Yeah, last time I did that, I shrieked like a little girl.
Yes, you did. But then, and they say you should sauna afterwards and not cold plunge after you lift or you exercise, because you actually need more blood in, not less blood. So people would always do cold before to reduce the swelling, but your body heals by getting more oxygen in. So they say you should sauna after you work out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It gets the oxygen in and it clears the lactic acid and heals you quicker than if you shrink it, because then it has to fight to get in there.
And that, yeah, I never thought that was a profound understanding.
No. Remember, rest, ice, compress, and elevate.
That's for
for ankle
That's
sprains.
for an injury, though. That's not for building muscle.
No, but they say that's the exact wrong thing you're supposed to do when you sprain your ankle or something, because the compression, you want the swelling. It swells so it could bring in the oxygen. And then if you compress it and you ice it, then you restrict its ability to heal itself fast enough. Now, elevation and rest is fine, but the compression and the ice, they say don't do that anymore. It's wrong for you.
Okay.
So things change, man. Things
Yeah.
change. Remember, this is the same country who told
Isn't that
people...
funny where new science disproves old science?
Yeah, but sometimes it's not even science.
Exact. Science isn't even a science at
Like,
this
well,
point.
in the 80s, they said to go to a low-fat diet because fat was bad for you.
Yeah, but
so
they
what
didn't know
happened?
there were different types of fat.
Right. They didn't know monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and saturated fat.
And trans fat.
And yeah, but they thought it was all bad. So you end up going on a low-fat diet. They do hyper processed food.
Yeah.
They do a lot of carbs. And you wonder why we're all fat now.
Most nutritionists at one point thought all cholesterol was bad.
Yeah, well, cholesterol doesn't give you the heart attack. But that's a whole nother thing. I'm working on my LDL because mine was too high, but I figured out why. Because I take MCT oil every day, so I started doing it every other day. We'll see if that has any effect.
That would definitely affect your cholesterol.
Well, it's the right type oil, and it said if you're on a intermittent fasting and a keto-friendly or carnivore-friendly diet, which I am, I try not to eat carbs, but recently I have, that it will drive your cholesterol up a little bit, your LDL up a little bit, and your lipoprotein B up a little bit. And mine popped the last 2 times, but I think it's the oil. I'll find out. Your blood turns over, I think, in 45 days. 90 days. So I got another 45 days to go.
Okay.
So
Halfway
we'll see.
there.
We'll get that tested. All right. So we're about halfway through. The next section is a top 5. You want to go first, or you want me to go?
You can go.
Okay. So top 5 anti-heroes in all of television or movie. Now, this is a pull for me, and we'll see. But number 5, I put Walter White from Breaking Bad. Number 4, I put Tony Soprano from The Sopranos. Number 3, I put the Silver Surfer because he was a bad guy. He was working with the Galactus, the Destroyer of Worlds. Number 2, I said, is Michael Corleone because we were talking about that today in Mario Puzo. Remember you showed that thing that
from the Godfather.
He didn't know how to write a screenplay.
Yeah,
and after he did the first 2, he bought a book to find out how to write a screenplay, and it said, watch Godfather.
Yeah, chapter 1 said, study Godfather Part 1.
There you go. And my number 1 is The Punisher.
Punisher is good.
Only because he kills people.
Yeah. He was in the
Daredevil
last
doesn't.
episode of Daredevil. That was the season finale, I think.
Oh, I'm still stuck on the first episode.
Oh, well, you got to fix that. Okay, so I'll go from 5 to 1. Number 5 is Omni-Man. He's in this.
Who's that?
It's in this movie, or the TV show on Amazon, Invincible. It's based on a cartoon. Number 4, I would go Homelander. Number 3.
He's not an anti-hero. He's a bad dude.
He's an anti-hero.
Who's he a hero to?
Okay, well, this is why I can't get clips, because I didn't say a word.
Oh,
You said
okay.
3 different words. So number 5 for my top 5 anti-heroes is Omni-Man. Number 4 is Homelander. Number 3 is The Punisher. Number 2 is Red Hulk. And then I'll go Walter White, number 1.
Okay, I'm fine with Walter White.
Oh, you know who also is good?
Who?
Saul Goodman.
Yeah, Better Call Saul.
guy
Yeah,
by
so
Bob
that's an
Odenkirk.
anti-hero. That's an anti-hero for sure.
Yeah, I mean, could John Wick be an anti-hero?
John Wick for sure.
Yeah, that could be in the top 5.
It's
too.
a hero against the norms, right?
Yeah, usually one that kills.
Or like
Anybody that kills a pedophile, anti-hero.
like Dwight Manfredi, which
I
is
don't know who that
Sylvester
is.
Stallone's character in Tulsa King.
Who's the guy that killed the person who killed his son with a handgun in the airport?
Gary some
That guy's an anti-hero.
No, but that Sylvester Stallone Tulsa King, he's an anti-hero.
I never got into that show.
Oh, it's worth watching.
Anybody from the Peaky Blinders would be anti-heroes.
Yeah, Thomas Shelby's an anti-hero.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
The guy that Tom Hardy played in Peaky Blinders. You know, Netflix
Yeah,
is making
Solomon.
a Peaky Blinders movie.
Good. That'll be good to see. I'm with you on that one. All right, so we're going to now do top 5 TV shows from the History Channel.
Okay.
I'll go first. If I can read. Oh, number 5, I got American Pickers. Number 4 was a series I watched. It's Men Who Built America, because it talked about Carnegie and Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan and all those other guys.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, of course, is Pawn Stars. For me, number 2 is Counting Cars, because I like car shows. And number 1 is, without a doubt, Ancient Aliens.
Okay. For me, I'll go number 5, Storage Wars. Number 4, American Pickers. Number 3, Pawn Stars. Number 2, Ancient Aliens. And then number 1 is all that like World War II and color stuff they do.
Yeah. You know, the other one I like watching is Parking Wars.
Parking, where they just repo cars.
Yeah,
That
once in a
scum of
while,
the earth is tow truck drivers.
Once in a while, they'll have the tow truck driver. Most of the time, it's the meter maids.
Is it traffic cops?
Yeah, no, it's meter maids. It's either
yeah.
the ticket writers, either guys or gals that write the tickets.
I kind of
And
hate.
then-
I hate those ticket jockeys worse than I hate mall cops.
Well, then the one that's the most entertaining is when everybody has to go to the impound yard and stand in line to pay the impound fee, and they always get hooked up on showing their license, the registration, and proof of insurance.
Yeah, they fucked me on that at UVA too, because that old Volvo was put in the impound once, and when I went to get it, they asked for my registration. I go, "It's in the fucking car," and they go, "Well, do you have the keys to your car?" "Yeah, but it's on your lot because you towed it." So, how would I get the registration if I can't look in the car?
No, they gotta
hold
let
on,
you
let
in.
me check. But these guys are giving me a case of the ass. I hate that business, tow truck drivers. How the fuck
It's a scam.
How the fuck does a 12-foot by 6-foot rectangle of space cost $200 an hour for a car to sit in?
I don't know. The interesting part is that I got no problem with wreckers, after accidents and stuff. The problem I have is they actually bid on contracts for apartments or stores and stuff like that, and you have the sign up that if towed, call this number.
Oh,
And they go in there and they
Yeah.
run it. And
they
if you,
bid on who gets that
yeah, if you
area.
don't have your sticker or something,
makes
you're
sense.
gone. Which makes sense but those are predators as far as I'm concerned.
Super predators, as Joe Biden would call them.
Yeah. All right, any other good ones? They have a good history one once in a while. I like the World War II in color one.
Yeah. They do wars pretty well.
They do the Vietnam stuff really well.
Yeah. They don't really do special forces stuff.
No.
There's this YouTube. Well, History Channel used to have this series where they showcased a different fighter jet every episode.
Yeah,
I
but that was
watched-
done by the guy who was a Full Metal Jacket, right?
I
Before
don't
he
know,
died.
but I watch the episodes on YouTube now, and those are really fun.
Okay, we'll have to take a look at that one. All right, what's your? We're moving quick today, so this is going to be a short episode. But what's your book of the week?
I'll just do Diary. No, the Witcher books. by Spakowski, he's some Polish writer. They're
What's the basic gist? What is that dude's powers? Because I saw the first season, but I still don't understand who he is and how he got his powers, and why he's fighting the demons.
to be honest, I never played the first game, but he can sense extra or supernatural beings, and he can do shit with his hands. Like he can have fire come out of his hands. He can manipulate time.
But what is he?
He's a witcher.
Is he like a warlock or something?
Something.
So he hunts witches?
He hunts ghouls, goblins, witches, demons,
All right.
griffins.
But he's not a warlock himself.
Well, he has lightning hands and shoots fire from his hands. So I guess it's just a glorified warlock, effectively.
Just so everybody knows, witches are women, warlocks are men. Even the witches know the difference between a man and a woman.
There's a bunch of, this is a trend nowadays, kitchen witches. People who post their herbs and spices and their tomes and books, and it's all in their kitchen. These people on Reddit who think they're actual witches doing spells and shit from the Necronomicon, trying to curse people. So you got those idiots out there.
Look, the only one of that type of genre that scares me is those voodoo priestesses. Those bitches scare me.
Oh, that Santeria bullshit?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
That
With
shit
the chicken
scares-
bones?
No, I ain't
They
up
used
for
to
that
not
shit.
let Haitians keep chicken bones.
That shit. No.
I don't fuck with that
I
voodoo.
saw too much zombie shit. That voodoo shit.
I don't like
I'll
some like
pass.
old, like some old African French woman in the bayou of Louisiana putting curses and hexes on you. No,
Man,
thank
I didn't even
you.
know what voodoo shit was till I started watching Scooby Doo.
Scooby-Doo was good.
They were always in the bayou and somebody was fucking with them, some witchcraft or
Yeah.
voodoo shit. The old Scooby-Doo
Scooby-Doo was
cartoons.
good. I like Scooby-Doo.
I tell you, that's my favorite cartoon.
The movies were pretty good with the little Shaggy on
But
the.
Velma and
That was a good one.
listen, that's the best cartoon. I know I said I like the Flintstones,
Best cartoon.
but for me it's Scooby-Doo.
It's up there.
What's better?
There's some adult cartoons.
Not
that are
South
better.
Park.
I prefer South Park over Scooby-Doo.
Do you?
Yeah.
For just pure fun and
Oh
entertainment?
yeah, 100%.
Oh, I don't know about that. South Park in top 5 for sure, but Scooby-Doo for me is the best.
Shit, I'd take Family Guy over Scooby-Doo.
No.
Scooby-Doo's not even in my top 10. But most of mine are adult cartoons,
Well, Archer's in the top 5.
Yeah.
South Park got me in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a SpongeBob guy.
Rick and Morty, Invincible might be in the top 5.
I'm not a Beavis and Butthead guy.
No. That's stupid. King of the Hill, I never liked.
Yeah, King Hill's all right. That wasn't great.
Beavis and Butthead is elementary. It's very childish.
No, well, what do we think? All right, so my book is The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. I think that's a must-read, one of the 10 must-reads for all dudes.
Mm-hmm.
It just gives you a unique perspective and understanding that your verbal presence and how you interact and how you command
present
conversations
yourself
or
to the
discussions are a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm. You can't
And your
be
mind
all shy and full of self-doubt if you expect to move mountains.
and 90% of what you're going to do in life is because your mind told you to do it or you're fighting against what your mind said. So you got to control your mind.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lot easier said than done.
So what's your week recommendation for a movie or for a TV series?
I'm going to go the TV series Black Mirror because the new season just came out this week.
What is that?
Black Mirror is a show on Netflix that every episode is a self-contained story, and they portray dystopian tech futures effectively for the most part.
Okay.
This new season, there was an episode where Rashida Jones had a tumor in her brain, and this company extracted the area of her brain with the tumor and put in artificial brain matter that they could stream to from their servers so that she can wake up from a coma. But there's a monthly subscription fee, which was initially $300 a month, and it was called Lux. And then a couple months later, that service Lux got a Lux Plus step up. And if you didn't pay the extra $500 a month, so $800 total to be on that step, your $300 a month plan, you have to sleep an extra 2 hours a day to lighten the load of the servers for the premium users. And you also run ads. So she would just be talking to her husband and then go, "Do you want a superior breakfast? Try Honey Crunch," or whatever. So she did that. She's a school teacher. She went into one of those ads for one of her students who was saying their parents were getting separated. She said, "You should try Christian family counseling." And she tried to talk to him later, and the kid said, "My mom says I can't talk to you anymore." And then a couple months later, Lux Plus became Lux Regular, and then there was a higher tier where you could crank up your emotional responses to certain stimuli. So you could have sensations heightened and everything. But it's a funny play on, the streaming subscription service.
Okay.
And some people reactivated their Netflix to watch this new season. So they had to go back and choose which subscription tier they wanted for Netflix.
Got it.
And then to go in and watch that as the first episode of the new season. It's pretty funny.
Now, do you watch that show on on Apple called Severance?
No, I don't have Apple TV.
What's that about?
These people who work in this company sign something that says their consciousness is severed in half. So the half of you that goes to work only knows work, and the half of you outside of work only knows relaxation.
Oh.
That's
Are they doing super secret stuff?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to look at it.
I've never seen it.
Mine, I started watching a new Guy Ritchie series, Mobland, with Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, and Tom Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 3 episodes in. That's worth watching.
I can't get through that because your shitty Paramount Plus subscription
Oh,
has
with the
ads
commercial.
every
I know.
15 minutes.
I got to figure out how to end that because that's killing me.
I can't do that. I made it.
I
2
thought I
ad
had
breaks
Paramount Plus. How am I supposed? Why do I have commercials?
Paramount Plus is what it's called, but you probably have the cheapest tier of Paramount Plus.
Well, I'm gonna have to fix that tomorrow. Yeah, I'm tired of watching commercials, but that's actually pretty good. But then it reminds me of another series that they say the second
Gangs of
season
London.
is coming out. Yeah, that's a good one too. But Guy Ritchie stuff is good. In 2017, they did the first one, Taboo,
Hey, Riddick.
with Tom Hardy. Set it in the late 1780s, I think. But that's a pretty good series to watch as well.
He's good
we'll
in
have to watch
a lot
that.
of stuff.
Yep.
Tom Hardy.
All right, now who's your bitch of the week? Mine's easy. Mine's Senator Van Hollen, the Democratic senator from Maryland, who went down to see the Maryland man in Seacott. These Democrats forget that. Listen, the guy.
I thought these guys in Seacott couldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah,
Their
well,
family members can't even
They
show
actually
up.
let him out and met him in a hotel, but
In a hotel?
yeah, but he's still an illegal alien
What?
who came across the border. He was also convicted of being with gang influences. He had POs put on him for beating his wife, and he was under suspicion for human trafficking. And he had a removal order already on him by the Joe Biden administration. So all Trump's doing is executing a removal order,
Well,
and then everybody's saying how he got disappeared. All that bullshit.
Well,
You don't know the facts, people.
We've beaten this dead horse every week. These Democrats only pick these diatribes they go on because they're politically motivated.
Yeah, but
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but here's a PSA.
They really don't care.
So here's a PSA to the Democratic Party. You guys need to get on the right side of this really quickly. You have a senator from Maryland going down looking at criminals. Where in the adjacent county to where
Fix
this
your
guy
bridge.
was at, they had a woman who was brutally raped and murdered by an illegal immigrant, mother of 5 at 37. Her mother spoke at a White House briefing.
Yeah.
But the Democrats got to get on the right side of this because they're going to put themselves so far as the party of the angry and the disenchanted that they're going to lose the midterm and then get rolled in the general. And then if that happens, the current Democratic Party will not be around in 32.
That'd be good.
It'll be something different. It's ridiculous. So, Senator Van Hollen, you are my bitch of the week. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I will go with Lance Stroll.
So he's
should
on
not
the
be
board.
allowed in
This is
Formula
his
1.
third time. He's on the board now too.
I don't even think he'd be top 10 in F3.
I think you're right.
I mean, what the fuck is he doing?
He been
He
in the
can't
bottom
do Formula
third.
E either because he can't manage the car. And Formula E is all about managing.
Yeah.
And there's Formula 2 and Formula 3 drivers better than him.
Yeah, but he's got a rich dad.
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah,
like
but
it.
you would think he would be getting
But
better.
then again, if you had
he's
billions,
getting worse.
if you had billions of dollars, I would expect nothing less than to have you buy me an F1 team.
But I wouldn't be. You know me
But I
well
wouldn't
enough.
get worse over a span
Right.
of 5 years.
If you didn't get better, like if you were in the bottom third,
you would
bottom
relegate
quarter,
me after. I know you.
No.
You would relegate me before the first season.
by
even
the third
finished.
season, if you weren't, in the like 7 through 10, you'd be replaced.
You're like, you're a reserve driver now, son.
Yeah, on my team. That's how it would be.
That's got to embarrass the father.
Yeah, but sometimes these guys have enough cash that they don't get embarrassed. That's the problem. Ain't that right, Mr. Riddick? It's not time for dinner yet. It's close. As you guys can see, one of our rescue cats, Mr. Riddick, named after Vin Diesel's character in the Chronicles of Riddick. What was the first one? Not Dark Space, but Near Dark.
I don't know.
That's when Riddick first came out. And then the third one. I don't know if there's a fourth one or not. But that's what we got. Anything you want to say in closing before we head off?
No, not really.
Okay. We'll make sure it's a little bit longer next week. Thanks, everybody. Mr. Riddick, what are you doing, buddy? What you doing, Riddick?
Disclaimer for Generations Unplugged with Big Kel and Kahuna. This is a podcast created for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed in this podcast reflect the personal experiences and opinions of the hosts and guests. Topics like health, fitness, financial well-being, and personal development are discussed based on individual perspectives and are not intended as professional medical, financial, or psychological advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals before making decisions related to health, lifestyle, or finances. Each person's journey is unique, and results may vary. The creators of Generations Unplugged disclaim any liability for actions taken based on the content of this podcast. Remember, informed decisions and expert guidance are key to building a fulfilling and balanced life.